Well, for those who don't know, I am a school shooter. I did 17 years in prison, and I have videos about it.
In what world exactly would it be okay for someone who is a school pupil to be able to come online, have social media platform where they have massive amounts of following and they are allowed to so nonchalantly talk about how they are a school pupil? Who are the 169,000 people who liked this video? Who? You know what? Now that I actually think about it, I'm starting to think that me asking that question to begin with is even a dumb question because, come on, just look at the person who committed the crime. I think that tells us who these people are that liked the video. And let's not even talk about the fact that this man has over 200,000 people following him, supporting him, and being apologists for him. It's wild.
I have a lot of videos where I try to address this issue so we can prevent other shootings. And I work with law enforcement about that also. But yes, so I had friends of mine who actually kept in touch with me while I was in prison, who visited me. And I had a lot of old classmates who I wasn't even friends with reach out to me since I came home, and especially since I've been on social media. There's been a lot of support. There's actually classmates and their family who are in the comments section of my video. You just don't realize it. There's also those who have reached out to me to share with me the trauma that they endured at my hands, the pain, the suffering, the anguish that they still feel to this day. And I'm open to it. I want to be helpful however I can. And if that includes people reaching out and sharing that pain, then by all means, I'm very open to it. And I'm also speaking at my hometown. There's a public forum where I've been invited to share my story and to answer questions, to hopefully provide help for parents, teachers, and law enforcement, as well as people who can maybe get some type of closure from what I've done to them.
What? What level of white privilege is this? Where you go from mass unaliver, or attempted one at least, to motivational public speaker.
This has got to be the most blatant, in your face show of what white privilege truly is. Because let's be for real here. Let's keep this thing 100, okay? If this man were a black or brown man, first of all, I don't even think he would be alive right now. He would have been shot on sight when the police showed up. The chances of him being alive right now if he were black or brown is very, very slim. Secondly, if he were black or brown and he committed this crime and just so happened to not get shot by the police when they showed up, I don't think he would ever see the light of day. With the crime he committed, he most likely would have been locked up for life. But no, he got a slap on the wrist. And now this man is online in a place where his victims could easily come by his videos. And he could again re traumatize these people who unfortunately had to experience what they experienced in the school. People who have most likely been going to therapy for these years and trying to heal from all of the trauma that they experienced that day could randomly come on TikTok, maybe just wanting to have a nice time, chill at home, have some fun on the internet, watch people dance or whatever. And then this is a person that could appear on their FYP. You know how that could literally cancel all of the hard work that they have been putting in to heal from the traumatic experience that they had to go through. No thanks to this man. And also other people who unfortunately are victims from other school pupilling could come by him as well, and he could be a trigger for them even though he wasn't the person who pupilled up their school. He could trigger them as well and get them back to ground zero after all the years that they have put in to get past their trauma. He is presently getting dragged on TikTok, rightfully so. A lot of people are pissed that this is even happening. Him, a school pupil, online the way he is and allowed to be platformed. I saw a comment yesterday that I so badly want to highlight right now, but unfortunately, I did not screen grab this comment, so now I'm going to be paraphrasing what this person said. This comment said, the last thing we need in this world right now is for us to have a school pupua hero for other intending school pupuas to now look upon and glorifying and take as an idol. That comment right there really puts things into perspective, doesn't it? On that note, now let's get into the intricacies of exactly what has been going down with the story and how it has been unfolding on TikTok.
How did I attack him?
The only thing different about you, John, is that you didn't kill anybody because you were a poor shot. Thank goodness.
Because I was a poor shot. I shot into the ceiling. What are you talking about?
Thank goodness that you were a poor shot. That's the only reason why. And you are given grace on this app for no reason. You're not advocating. You're not putting out information about how to truly. You haven't really talked to any advocacy groups. You said it yourself. No, you haven't started anything. You are strictly on this app benefiting off the fact that you went to jail to prison for 17 years for being a school shooter. You were attacked, and when you were released 2 years later, attacked. And since then, you have been promoting the attack and not really talking about the issue, the core issue, and how you get to benefit on TikTok for just simply doing for a behavior.
Why are you talking about me? Why do you got my picture shown on there? You're
Because
trying to
I
get
don't think
views
you
and
belong.
likes off of me and
Oh,
my
here we
tragedy
go.
that I committed.
want
So
views and
you are
likes off of you.
disrespecting not only me for what I went through, you're disrespecting my victims because you're not
Oh my
interested in
gosh, you
bettering
care about
things.
the
You're
victims
on
of the
here
school
bullshitting
shooting?
with people.
You
So
care
have a good
about
night.
you care about the victims of I'm somehow hurting the victims of your school shooting while you're sitting on this app trying to garner sympathy because you were attacked by swords and I'm the problem, John?
Yeah, you are a part of the problem because a lot of people who are on here, they're pretty much instigating and creating hate and fueling that anger among people. You are a part of the problem. If you go through a lot of my stuff, I'm talking about positivity. And although I might talk about the man who attacked me, I talk about forgiving him. I talk about how I hope he has a
I
better
love
life.
how you
I talk
said
about how I fought
my
so he didn't
victim.
end up in prison for the
Did you
rest of his
notice
life.
how you called the victims of the school shooting your victims? How you made sure to identify them as yours. You own that. You own mine, my victims. So you get to control how everybody else identifies with what you did. Do you know the
What are you talking
ridiculousness in
about?
that?
Because if I didn't call them my victims, then people would be saying, hey, you need to own up to it. You need to see that these are your victims.
No. You could have simply said the victims.
No,
Because
because
you're
that's the thing. I
how
always have people on one side or the other, no matter what I say, get upset. So I own up to it. They are my victims because they're the victims of my actions. That's why I say it, not because I want to control them, but because I'm owning up to what I did.
There are a lot of things on this app I have just come to accept are possible. Never in my life have I ever thought that a school shooter is going to gaslight the entire internet. Then now wants to walk us through his crime. According to him, the police confession, fake, everything fake. He never went to the school to harm anybody. Yeah, he traumatized. Listen to this.
About to show police video footage of the hallway after the shooting. For those who don't know, when I was just 16 years old, I went into my high school with a gun. My intent was not to kill, but to die in front of other people. And I knew that I'd be traumatizing them, which I did. I wanted to share my pain with others, and I regret it more than anything, but I want people to know what happened that day, because when I did come out of the bathroom with a shotgun in my hands, there was actually another student who was just on his way in, and he froze in front of me, because no kid expects to see that. And I did him. That wasn't my intent, because he turned around and he ran. And when I came around the corner, you'll see the hallway. You'll see where two kids had just come around the other corner, about 40 feet away, and I pointed up and away and shot. And most of the bird shot went into the ceiling, into the upper parts of the wall, and then they turned and they ran right back around the corner. justify what I did. You know, I would end up answering questions with police later on. I waived my Miranda rights without speaking to an attorney or my family. Unfortunately, the police then wrote down a confession supposedly written by me, and I never read it. You know, because then a couple of minutes later, another cop comes in and says, hey, an attorney just called. He's now represented. All questions have to stop. And the cop just said, oh, okay, you know, and read to me what he had written down, supposedly. And I just signed it wherever he told me to sign it, initialed it, and then he had to lock me in a cell. I later found out that what he had actually written was not what he read to me. And I would later plead guilty to attempted murder and reckless endangerment. And people say, well, if your intent wasn't to kill, why did you plead guilty to attempted murder? I was facing 75 years, and I just didn't have the fight in me. I didn't want to re-traumatize everybody at that time. And I just wanted to say, you know, I'm ready to go to prison. I'm done.
Like, there is something seriously wrong with this man. Who exactly does he even think he's talking to? Fools? Abi, is it just me, or isn't this man right now in our faces trying to paint this image of, oh, I was a nice guy. I didn't want to re-traumatize the victim, so I decided to go down easy and quiet. But isn't him being online the way he is online something that could traumatize the victims? If he truly cares about the victims, he would not be doing what he's doing online, especially after people have told him that, guy, you should not be here. If he cares about the victims, he will take down his accounts. Whatever work he's claiming that he's doing to help and change things, if he really is doing any of this work, he would be doing it, you know, more discreetly and with more respect for people's opinions and their feelings, especially the feelings and opinions of the victims. The way he is carrying himself shows that he doesn't care about the victims and their feelings and opinions. His attitude is evidence that all he cares about is what he thinks, what he feels, and what he wants to do. This is about him and his desire for attention. That's what this is.
The story he is telling y'all is not what happened. He says, I just wanted to be taken out by the police, that he went into school, fired a few rounds into the ceiling. Assistant principal attacks him, the firearm goes off, he's arrested. Now what really happened, went into the bathroom to text his friends, hey, I have a weapon, leave now. Goes in the hallway, is firing at students, they're running back and forth, chasing students into classrooms, he's a bad shot. They're being pointed at. Hits one student in the leg, he goes back into the hallway. Assistant principal attacks him, he fires at the principal. They're also hit. He gets arrested, and that night in the jail cell, the TV's playing the news of what happened and what he did. The CEO's report, he was laughing at it, giggling at the screen. Mind you, 250,000 followers. Y'all, his comments, oh, everybody has a rough patch. I'm sorry, that's not a rough patch. Then this happened recently where he was attacked by a sword, and he claims it's because he's white. On the news, they not once bring up his crimes, says that he's gracious and compassionate. He does so much for the unhoused community. That man is a top-tier manipulator. You hear stories all the time of people in prison say the nicest people. You look up their record, comes to find out they've committed the most heinous crimes you can think of. They're constantly trying to manipulate everyone around them, but they have not changed.
Yes, for sure, he's good at manipulating people, and he's very calculative too. Because if you pay attention to how he speaks about himself, he says things like, I was just 16 and bird shots, right? Using words like that is minimalizing. His tone and his words well synchronized with the aim to manipulate the feelings of people and minimalize his crimes. With that just 16 comments, he is for sure infantilizing himself.
You're right, I'm a violent felon who can never legally own a firearm again. However, American gun culture is so out of control, I could very easily get one if I wanted to. There's even gun shows in a lot of states that don't require background checks, so think about that. I, a school shooter, could go and get one if I wanted to.
Now tell me that doesn't scare you, man. Tell me this video doesn't make you uncomfortable in ways that you cannot even put to words.
Do you believe that people can be racist against a white person? I do, and so does the man who attacked me with swords. He almost took my life while calling me the white devil. And I'm even going to show you a video clip of him telling police that he did so for reasons. Now let's look at the definition of what racism is. is prejudice or discrimination against somebody or some group because of their racial or ethnic group. Now, it does say typically one that has a minority or marginalized group, but it says typically because oftentimes it's directed towards the minority, but it can be directed towards the majority. And as a straight white male in American society, I get it. I have a lot of privilege. I don't face oppression. I don't have systematic towards me. I'm just saying that in this one instance where a man tried to end my life, he didn't know anything about me. We didn't know each other's names. He didn't know about my past. We didn't have some big argument blow up. He was arguing with somebody else, called them the white devil. And then me and some coworkers said, hey, like, you can't be using that term around here. Please just relax. De-escalate the situation. He took an issue with me because my coworkers were black. He didn't care what they were saying. He was upset that I was addressing him. And he would then start calling me the white devil. And after trying to de-escalate it, and after a while, I had to ask him to leave. And then he attacked me while calling me the white devil. So here is him in his own words saying he attacked me for racist reasons.
The dude said I was saying something racist, so I showed them what racism is. Yeah,
John Romeo, is this you? Yeah, very interesting take, considering your own history. Is this you also, John Romeo? When you were 16, and you took your backpack and a pump-action shotgun to high school and opened fire? Yeah, on a Monday morning. You managed to strike a high school teacher before the principal tackled you from behind. Is that you? Now, I think it's interesting, John, that your take on this was that Mr. Mason, the man who slashed you with the swords, must have been when in your situation, after you carried a gun into a high school, shot it up, and wounded a teacher in the process, that your actions were not based upon the fact that you were a psychopathic monster, but a mental health issue. See, here's the thing. Even before they had done a complete investigation into your motives, because you couldn't have just been your garden variety, sociopathic, a maladjusted teenager on a killing spree. No, that couldn't be you. They were already making excuses for your behavior by saying that you had mental issues. They described you as an emotionally disturbed young man who was being treated for problems ranging from depression to anxiety, or just a typical day in the black community. They were already doing this. And you all can pause and read the rest.
A lot of people know me for this, surviving a sword attack 7 months ago when I worked at a homeless shelter.
See, myself, I work with those who happen to be homeless all the time. And I do realize that some of them experience mental health issues. So for you to say you were working at a homeless shelter at the time, and the first issue you ran to was in that attack and not maybe an underlying mental health issue, I find quite interesting. Now, since you were able to play that partial clip from the police body cam footage, what doesn't say what you said it said either, but we'll address that in a moment, you must have also known that Mason was reportedly well known to law enforcement for having a prolific history of mental health episodes. You did see that also, right? But your take was that the man experiencing homelessness with a history of mental health episodes must have been being racist towards you instead of having a mental health episode, even though the lead up to that mental health episode was quite evident in the argument he was having. Now on to this clip.
Oh, here is him in his own words saying he attacked me for reasons.
the dude said I was saying something racist, so I showed them what racism is.
Yeah, that's not what he said. Not at all. And I know you also have this part of the video where he says, yeah, I chopped him up. Mason allegedly said several times in documents, he was disrespecting me. He's down there all chopped up. Said I was... Now here's the struggle I need you to pick between these. I need to know that you leave that part out of your video on your story time on this situation because there was no video of him saying that, or did you leave it out because he was lying and you didn't call him?
As a straight white male in American society, I get it. I have a lot of privilege. I don't face oppression. I don't have systematic racism towards me. I'm just saying that in this one instance where a man tried to end my life.
So it's and not mental health in this one case, right? But in this one case, it couldn't have been that you were a narcissistic sociopath suffering from a borderline personality disorder. No, you were just having a bad mental health day, right? Now, Mr. Mason was sentenced to 25 years in connection with the attack on you. While you, who took a pump-action shotgun to a high school, was charged with the same charge that Mr. Mason was charged with, and you received 20 years and was released in 15 for good behavior, of course. And let's talk about privilege for a moment. I see that you are invited to different places to speak on your experiences as a school shooter. Can't make this shit up. Do you think that when Mr. Mason gets out of prison, that he will be invited around to talk about his experiences slashing a former school shooter? Asking for a friend. Just asking for a friend.
Shout out to this brother. I love how he broke this whole thing down. But now, closing this video, you know what is on my mind is the fact that he so desperately wants us to believe that he's online doing this good work. But if you go to his page, you would find that the major thing he talks about on his page is how he was attacked by a black man who was racist towards him, gathering sympathy, talking about how, oh, white people too experience racism and he was a victim of a hate crime when he knows fully well that that wasn't what happened. This man had mental health issues, but he came online and that was the narrative that he was passing around. That was what he first went viral for, being attacked in a so-called hate crime by a black man who chopped him up with a sword. And he was going on and on. There are multiple videos about this, multiple, unending. He was dragging it, only for him to progressively get to the point where he felt so comfortable to come online and tell us all, make the announcement for us that he's a school pupil. And now, as people are saying, what is a school pupil doing on social media, on TikTok? And now he's talking about, oh, he's online doing this work to fight against behavior like his. But man, that's not what your content says you are doing, though. That's not what your content says you are here for. At least not on TikTok. It doesn't say that. I try to make this video as informative and as concise as possible and as short as possible. If there is anything you think is vital and should have been incorporated into this video, please share with us down below in the comment section. I hope for the sake of everyone that this man doesn't go on to repeat his crimes. I'm scared he's a loose cannon, I won't lie. But fingers crossed, I am hoping that he would shock us positively by not going on to repeat his crimes. Terrorists should not be allowed to have social media platforms. Humans, we cannot be platforming terrorists. That's not an okay thing to do. This is wild. This is insane that it's happening. And on that note, I'm ending this video. But guys, do let me know down below in the comment section what your thoughts are. Thank you very much for watching. And of course, as always, I would see you guys in the next one.
What's crazy to me is how y'all villainize black people who participate in crimes of survival versus how y'all treat white people who literally commit crimes for absolutely no reason. There are black folks who are serving and served life sentences because of Ronald Reagan's war on drugs. But you want me to believe that someone who was a school shooter should be released from prison? And then y'all are making him out to be a hometown hero. This is sick. Not only have y'all released somebody who is clearly a danger to society back to public population, but y'all have also allowed him to get on this app and monetize off of being someone who is not safe to the public. And I just also want to say to all the friends that went and visited him and supported him, y'all deserve to be locked away as well. You know what I'm saying? Something is not right. The math is not mathing. I believe that y'all would have done the same thing had y'all had the opportunity to. And it's looking like his living situation is really nice. And this is all on the coattails of Clinton creating bills and laws that people cannot be paroled back to public housing. So there are black people who cannot be paroled back to their home. Are you serious? Meanwhile, he's living good? It's giving that he's the new poster child for privilege. And all y'all needed to do was just say that.
Well, for those who don't know, I am a school shooter. I did 17 years in prison.
I believe in second chances. I believe in redemption and rehabilitation, but I also believe in parameters, and one of those parameters should be life in prison after a school shooting. The second parameter should be no access to social media if released early for whatever fuck reason. People will say, but Jasmine, he was 16, his mind had not fully developed and he was experiencing a lot of mental health issues. But I was 16 with a mind that had not fully developed, experiencing a lot of mental health issues, and I never walked in with a shotgun and just unloaded on my teacher. And as a celebrity spiritual consultant, I spend a lot of time working with people's minds, their fucking psyche, their souls, and I will say this, I understand people can change, but I also believe that people should not always have access to community to prove that they have changed, because all we're working with up until you do something else is fucking potential. And insert this clip real quick.
Do you believe that people can be racist against a white person? I do, and so does the man who attacked me with swords. He almost took my life while calling me the white devil. And I mean,
The fact that you work with law enforcement to help them understand the mind of the shooters, which is something that you are, is a different level of male sapien privilege that I do not care to even try and understand. But I'm trying to figure out why your empathy does not extend to the man that attacked you with swords and called you a white devil. Most places in the world, the devil is perceived as being evil, just as shooting up a school is perceived as being evil. You are white, as I am black, so which part did he get wrong? Imagine had you been black, Middle Eastern, Hispanic, baby, you would not see the light of day. They would have you in the dungeon. They would have built one for you. I'm supposed to discriminate based off the way that people look, but tell me this motherfucker don't look like he would do that shit again. I hear the Despicable Me song playing in the background. I am having a bad, bad day. It's about time that I get my way. It's so fun to see. Despicable Me.
I'm coming home. Tell the world I'm coming.
I'm no hate to this guy. Actually, I lied. This guy shot up a school, I believe. Columbia High School in 2004. He's currently out and posting on social media, as you can see. And when you look through his comments, thank God I don't find anyone who looks like me in that shit, because I would be very disappointed. But all those white people are eating it up. Glad you made it out. That's your past. You're a whole new guy now. Be fucking for real. That man shot up a school. A school with a firearm. And y'all are just accepting him back into society. These are the same groups of people who expect me to take white people seriously. Yeah, no, I refuse, and I'll die on this hill.
is 25 years enough time for the man who tried to chop me up with swords? Yeah, April 7th, that's what he'll be sentenced to. I have no problem with that. My only problem is with the fact that they never charged him with a hate.
You know what's so ironic? John Romano decided to shoot up his high school in 2004 and was only sentenced to 18 years and only served 16 of those 18 years. That was the man in the video. I want to talk about two things here. The fact that his sentence was not nearly as long as it should have been. It should have been life. He should still be behind bars, but he's a free man walking around. And two, my second point is that he's claiming that he was called racial slurs and that this was a hate crime because a black man attacked him with a sword and he had to have both of his limbs reattached. And I find it so ironic because in the creator that I got that video from, their username is Haram Police. They made an excellent point as well, which how is he going to speak on, oh, that is a perfect sentence, that is a justified sentence, when he only got 18 years for shooting a special education teacher in the legs with a 12-gauge shotgun, and had intended on killing his classmates that day? How is the man that assaulted a school shooter going to get more years in prison than a school shooter? Explain that to me. And also to go on and say that it was a hate crime because a black man attacked a white man is absolutely insane. Not that Mr. John Romano, the school shooter, is any less nuts than I thought he was. And I can only guess why John had an 18-year sentence while this man is having a significantly longer sentence than he did. Maybe it's because he's a black man. And I can only infer, based off of statistics, that the only reason John Romano is still alive today is because he was a white man. A white man that was a school shooter based on the demographic. Because if he was a person of color, if he was a black or brown man, he would have been shot on the scene, no questions asked. Or given a justified extreme sentence. But nope, he got a slap on the wrist and only served about 16 years in jail. And I find it appalling and I find it disgusting that there is anybody that is siding with John Romano. He sat in a bathroom stall and messaged his classmates that he had a gun and instructed them to get out. He was willing to take the lives of other students and teachers and staff. He was willing to do that because he is a vile, disgusting human being. There is no reformation and there is no changing that. He is the same person that he was when he did that egregious act. No amount of therapy, no amount of prison will ever change that. And it's disgusting that he has a platform.